Most people say it doesn't open. Some say it never should have. Locker 310. Far end of the east hallway, third floor of a forgotten high school in Hiroshima. No one uses it. No one can use it. It's welded shut. A rusted silver padlock, corroded. Hinges, the number plate is chipped, almost unreadable. And taped across the front, a laminated warning from decades ago, yellowed with age. The kanji barely legible. Do not open. Ever. But every October 14th, just before midnight, Locker 310 opens by itself. Eiko had never believed the stories. She was an exchange student from Seattle, spending a semester abroad with her aunt in Hiroshima. The school she was placed in Shikushi High was the kind of place time had tried to forget. Peeling floors, ghost white walls, and a constant echo in the halls, even when no one was talking. During orientation, the vice principal mentioned one rule not in any handbook: don't go to the third floor after dark, especially near the end of the east wing. Some of the students laughed. The seniors didn't. Her friend Takashi leaned over and whispered, "They're talking about the locker. Every year it opens and chooses someone." Eiko rolled her eyes. "You mean like the ring or Final Destination?" He didn't smile. Over the next few weeks, she noticed the locker. It stood out. Not because it was flashy, but because it wasn't. Everything around it was dust-covered, decayed. But that locker always looked recently disturbed, like someone had touched it. Or maybe something inside was pressing against the metal. She asked around. No one wanted to talk about it. The teachers changed the subject. The janitor pretended he didn't understand English. But one girl, Ayumi, whispered something Eiko never forgot. "My brother. He went to this school 10 years ago. He was a senior, smart, funny." On October 14th, they found his books, neatly stacked outside Locker 310. No fingerprints on the lock. No surveillance footage. The locker was wide open. He was never seen again. October rolled in. Rain fell nearly every day. Some of the students started skipping. Class felt quieter, heavier. Eiko didn't tell anyone, but she started to dream about Locker 310. At first, it was just there, at the edge of her mind. Then it started creaking, opening. She'd wake up gasping, heart racing, always at 12:04 a.m. October 14th. It was a Saturday. Most of the school was empty. Eiko stayed late for her film club project, some documentary about old school buildings. When the teacher left, she said she'd lock up. Eiko nodded, then quietly turned toward the east wing. Her phone flashlight barely lit the way. The air was stale. Each step felt slower, like the hallway didn't want her there. When she reached the end, she saw it. Locker 310, still locked, still taped shut. But the padlock had cracked, and the laminated sign was on the floor. Her phone buzzed. One notification, unknown contact, just a name, Eiko. She froze, then click. The locker creaked. The door moved an inch, and from inside, something whispered, "You're next." Eiko didn't remember leaving the hallway. She only remembered the locker, the whisper, her name on the screen, and then darkness. She woke up in the nurse's office. Dim light filtered through frosted windows. Outside, the sky was already dark. Ms. Kuroda, the school nurse, looked startled to see her awake. "You fainted. A janitor found you near the third floor stairs." Eiko tried to speak, but her mouth was dry. "Did you open the locker?" the nurse asked, more serious than concerned. Eiko blinked. "What? No, it opened by itself." Ms. Kuroda didn't flinch, didn't question her. Instead, she nodded slowly, then said something that froze the blood in Eiko's veins. "Then, you've been called." The nurse refused to say more. She handed Eiko a piece of paper before she left. Just a date. October to 1 Saint. No context. No explanation. Just a deadline. Eiko couldn't sleep that night. She scoured the internet for anything related to Locker 310, Shikushi High, or October 21st. There was nothing on the official site, but in an old Reddit thread titled "Creepy Japanese School Rituals," she found something. Shikushi High, Hiroshima, urban legend about a sealed locker that chooses a student each year, known locally as the one who gets called. They say once your name is whispered by the locker, you have exactly 7 days. Nobody knows what happens if you don't show up, because nobody has ever tried. Eiko didn't tell her. Host family. She didn't go to class the next day. She just walked, thought, waited. On the second night, her phone glitched. The screen turned white, then flickered back to life. All her contacts were gone, except one. Locker 310, no number. Just a name. It sent her a message. You have 6 days. That night, she dreamed again. The hallway, the locker. But this time, there were voices, multiple ones, soft at first, then louder, each one whispering a different name. And one by one, they stopped, until only hers was left. And it kept repeating, Eiko, Eiko, Eiko. She woke up screaming. On day 3, she confronted Takashi. What happens if I don't go back? He hesitated, looked around, then pulled her aside. There used to be a student, Yuna Sato. She got the message, but she ignored it, skipped school, locked herself in her house. What happened? Takashi swallowed. She disappeared anyway, in her own room. The door was locked from the inside. They never found her body. But the walls? He stopped. Himself. Eiko leaned in. What about the walls? They were wet. Like, they were sweating, breathing. On day 4, Ayumi handed her a folded piece of notebook paper. I wasn't going to show you this, she said, but my brother left it behind. Eiko unfolded it. There were 12 names. Some were crossed out. Some weren't. At the bottom, freshly written, Eiko Miyazaki, and underneath it, one spot left. That night, Eiko tried to run, packed a bag, took the train into the city. She stayed in a capsule hotel in Hiroshima proper, far from Chikushi High. But even in the cold silence of that cramped pod, the screen of her phone blinked red. A live stream. Title, Room 310, one viewer. She opened it. The stream showed a grainy view of the locker, slightly open, and behind it a silhouette. Watching. Waiting. She turned off her phone, turned off the lights, and that's when she heard it. Not from the phone, not from the hallway, from inside the tiny capsule she was sleeping in. A whisper. 2 days left, Eiko. Eiko didn't go back to school. She didn't eat, didn't sleep. She just watched the stream. Every few hours, the same notification would buzz her phone. Locker 310 is live. Each time, the angle changed. Sometimes it showed the hallway, sometimes the inside of the locker. Once, it showed her asleep. On the 5th night, her aunt finally asked, "Why do you keep looking over your shoulder?" Eiko wanted to scream, but how could she explain that she was being hunted not by a person, but by a place? That night, her phone buzzed again, but this time, it wasn't a stream. It was a photo, black and white, grainy, a girl in a Japanese school uniform standing in front of locker 310, her face blurred, but familiar. It was Eiko. Except, she'd never stood like that. She'd never worn that uniform. It wasn't a picture of her. It was a picture of who she'd be if she didn't leave. Day 6. She tried to leave Hiroshima, bought a train ticket to Osaka, but when she scanned her pass at the gate, the turnstile didn't move. The machine beeped, not valid. The station attendant scanned it manually. It says your destination doesn't exist. What? He turned the monitor so she could see. The screen blinked, then filled with static. When it cleared, locker 310, streaming live. Behind it, the girl again, smiling, her hand reaching toward the camera. Eiko ran, left the station, sat on a bench in a park until the sun came up. The city didn't feel real anymore. Faces blurred past her, colors to flat, like watching a dream fade into film grain. And that's when it hit her. She was already inside the list. Back at the school, rumors had started. A few students noticed her name scribbled on the whiteboard outside room 3-1. Others claimed they heard her name echoing through the intercom, even though it was never turned on. Ayumi texted her one word, run. Then her number disappeared from Eiko's contacts, replaced with a new one, 310. It didn't have a message, just a live countdown. 1742, 1741. Eiko decided to go back. Not to surrender, but to end it. She broke into Chikushi High just after midnight. The halls were dead silent. The floor tiles seemed to breathe under her shoes. As she climbed to the third floor, the air thickened like walking underwater. Locker 310 was waiting. Unlocked. Wide open, but empty. Or so it seemed. She stepped closer. The inside was deeper than it should have been. Too deep. Impossible deep. Like staring into the mouth of something that wasn't hollow, but hungry. Then she saw it. Her reflection distorted, rippling like heat on asphalt. It didn't move like her. Didn't blink when she blinked. Instead, it smiled and whispered, "Now you understand." Eiko reached into her pocket, pulled out the list Ayumi had given her. The names were fading. Hers was almost gone, except there was a new name beneath it. Takashi. Hirano. Eiko's breath caught. She hadn't written that. And then she realized the list didn't record victims. It recruited replacements. To escape, she had to offer someone else. That was the rule. That was the cost. And the locker was patient. It would wait until she chose, but not forever. The countdown on her phone ticked down to 0. Oh, the screen went dark, then lit up with one final word: decide. Asterisk. The word decide burned on her phone like a wound, and then it blinked out. The screen returned to normal. Everything was still. No sirens. No locker swinging open. No ghost dragging her down the stairs. Just silence. And the list, still, in her hand, still showing a name that wasn't hers. Takashi Hirano. She ran, not from the school, but to Takashi. She found him near the back gate, smoking in the dark. Headphones on. "Eiko," he said, startled. She grabbed his arm, shoved the paper into his hands. "Tell me you didn't write this." Takashi looked down, his face drained of color. "No, I swear. I've never seen this before." "Then why is your name on it?" He opened his mouth, but paused, then quietly said, "Because I've seen the locker too." They sat in the courtyard. For hours, Takashi told her everything. "My cousin Jun disappeared in 2011. Same school, same week. Before he vanished, he told me, the locker doesn't kill you, it replaces you." Eiko's hands trembled. "Replaces you with what?" Takashi looked up at the stars. "I don't know, something empty, but loud." He had one more confession. A year ago, on October 14th, the locker opened for him, and he gave it a name, not just anyone's, his best friend's. "I thought it was a prank, just some stupid curse. I didn't know the rules were real." The friend disappeared a week later. The police called it a runaway. Takashi never told anyone. Until now. "So why me?" Eiko whispered. He didn't answer, didn't have to. They made a plan. If the curse could be passed, maybe it could be stopped. October 21st. 1 year since the last disappearance. One night left. They returned to the school together. Flashlights, a crowbar, salt, superstition, maybe. But it made them feel braver. Locker 310 waited, silent. The air around it shimmered with heat. Despite the cold, they pried the door wider. Inside, nothing. No paper, no light, no sound. Until dash click. Eiko single quotes. S phone turned on by itself. It was recording. Not her. Not Takashi. But someone else. A blurry figure standing behind them. They turned. No one there. Then came the whisper. This time, not a name, but a sound. The sound of screaming. Recorded, replayed, layered over itself like dozens of versions of Eiko. All dying in different ways. She dropped the phone, stepped back. Her foot hit something. She looked down. Another list. Fresh ink. New names. Takashi's was fading. So was hers. One line remained blank. Waiting. Takashi stared at it. "I'm sorry," he said. "What?" "I can't do this again. I won't choose anyone else." He pulled a lighter from his pocket and set the list on fire. The locker screamed. A real sound, metal bending, wood splitting, air being sucked out of the room. It didn't want the list. Destroyed. The paper burned in seconds, and the locker began to shake. "Run!" Takashi yelled. They sprinted, down the hall, through the stairwell. But as they reached the exit, the doors closed, locks clicked shut, and above them, through the school speakers, a voice neither had ever heard. "We gave you the rules. You broke them. Now you belong to us both." The lights turned red, and across every classroom TV, a grainy image appeared. Eiko, and Takashi, standing in front of the locker. Except the footage was live, and they weren't in it. The doors locked behind them. No alarms, no teachers, no escape, only silence, and the red glow pulsing through every hallway of Chikushi High. Eiko and Takashi stood in the dim corridor, hearts pounding in sync. The hallway cameras turned on. One by one, CRT monitors flickered to life. They showed footage from inside the locker. Except it wasn't just a day. The videos were stacked. Different years, different students, some sobbing, some begging, some smiling, eerily calm. Just before they vanished, Takashi gritted his teeth. It's feeding on choices. It doesn't care. Who just that we choose? Eiko turned toward him, eyes full of dread. So what if we choose no one? The locker door slammed shut on its own, then burst open wider than ever before. Something inside moved, not with legs or arms, but with voices, a tangle of whispers overlapping, rising. Eiko, Takashi, Eiko, Takashi, you didn't choose, so now we will. The floor beneath them began to change, tiles crumbling, curling upward like paper on fire. The world buckled. Behind the locker, a hole, not dark, but static, like a broken signal trying to form an image of something hungry. Eiko took a step forward. Takashi grabbed her arm. No, we do this together. I'm not letting you. But she was already pulling away. She looked at him. Calm. Resolved. You broke the rule a year ago. I broke it this time. It needs a balance. She handed him her phone. The live stream was still on. Show them, she said. Make people remember. Then she turned toward the locker and stepped in. The light vanished. The whispering stopped. The building breathed. And the monitors all turned to black. Takashi stood alone for a long time. He didn't move. Then he lifted her phone, opened the stream. And spoke into the mic. Her name was Eiko Miyazaki. She broke the chain. This year there's no replacement. Remember her. Then he turned the phone off and walked away. 1 year later, October 14th, 11:59 p.m. A janitor swept the third floor hallway at Chikushi High. At the end of the east wing, locker 310 welded shut again, silent, cold. But as the minute ticked over into midnight, the padlock cracked. The door creaked open. Inside, a mirror and a single piece of paper. On it, in black ink, "Welcome back, Eiko."